Hi everybody, I decided on this week's video we're going to continue on with our marker coloring. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp our image. Once again, I'm using hybrid ink. That way I get a crisp black line and it'll work with the Spectrum Noir and the Copic markers that I'm going to be using. And I'm using the Mini Misty. And my paper is a little bit bigger than the actual size of it, but it's working. It's not, you know, tearing up the paper or anything. I just wanted to have a little bit more paper in case, I don't know, like sometimes I like to work big and then that way I can trim it down later. If you work too small, sometimes, you know, you wind up messing up and then, anyway. So I stamped it just one more time because I really wanted to make sure that the black was really crisp. I'm just putting all the pieces back in for the Misty, and I'm going to zoom in here for our coloring. The first thing I'm going to use is the Copic markers, and I use the E13, E11, and E21, and these are going to be for my flesh tones. And always, well, some people start with the dark color and then work their way to light. I am still learning, so I still put down my light first, then go to the medium color and then to the dark, and then work my way back. So was it like 2 times for each color? So light, medium, dark, and then medium, light. So actually the medium and the light are the only ones you do twice. And then if the dark kind of blends away for you, just, you know, hit some of the darker shadow areas. You just play with it until it gets to, you know, what you're happy with. But for whatever reason, I like my Spectrum Noirs, but when it comes to the skin tones, I am better with the Copics. And I think it's because the first markers I ever got were the flesh tone pack of the Copic markers. So I've been dealing with those longer, I guess you could say. So for the hair, I wanted it to be a darker brown, so I used one of the Copics just for my base color, and then I'm taking the Spectrum Noir. This one is the TN6 and the TN7. I'm just coloring it in. And for most of the coloring that we're going to be doing is going to be 2 colors. I think even when I do the blue, it's going to be 2. So since it's just going to be the 2 colors, and I just want to kind of go through and have you guys enjoy the coloring, I'm going to let the music play, and I will pick it up at the end when we get ready to make the card. so there we have, I did a little bit of grounding. That's how I finished off the card there as far as the coloring. Now we're going to cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4. That's going to fit on our standard A2 size card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp the sentiment up in the top left. And it goes with the stamp set. It says, "Life's too short, enjoy the ride." So we're just going to stamp it up, and I stamp it off to the side. You can't see it, just so I can make sure I have the stamp facing the right direction, because that's happened to me before where I go to stamp it and it's upside down. So once I have it stamped, I'm going to go ahead and grab my clear embossing powder, because we use the VersaFine Black Onyx ink, and we're going to just heat set that sentiment real quick. I just want to make sure it doesn't smear. Alright, we're just going to heat up the tool, the heat gun here, and then just real quick. It doesn't take long, so it minimizes the warping. And then I'm looking in my stash trying to find a color that's going to work best underneath this, and I had on the side 8.5 by 11 sheet that I cut along the 4 1/4, so it was like it would make a top folding card. So once I had that, I got a card that I made 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, which gives me a nice kind of lavender border, and it just helps make that purple dress pop a little. And then we're just going to attach it to our card front. And really here you could add sequins, you could add gems, you could do a whole lot to it, but for our purposes we're leaving it here because I really just wanted to focus on the coloring, okay? Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed our coloring video. Just make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and I will look forward to seeing you in our next video, where we're probably going to look more at watercolor. So still be coloring, but we're going to take it to a new medium.